Welcome to Philosophy Decoded, where we explore timeless wisdom for modern life. Let's decode today's philosophy. You're anxious about losing your job. The thought keeps you up at night. Every meeting with your boss feels like a threat. Every company email makes your stomach drop. You're terrified of the worst-case scenario. So you avoid thinking about it. You distract yourself. You hope it won't happen. Meanwhile, the anxiety gets worse. Because you're not dealing with the fear. You're running from it. The Stoics had a completely different approach. They called it negative visualization. And it's the opposite of what modern self-help tells you to do. Modern advice: think positive. Visualize success. Focus on what you want. Stoic practice: imagine everything going wrong. Visualize the worst-case scenario in detail. Mentally rehearse loss, failure, and disaster. This sounds insane. Why would you deliberately imagine bad things happening? Because when you face your fears directly in your mind, they lose power over you. When you avoid them, they control you. This is negative visualization explained completely. What it is, why it works, how the Stoics practiced it, and why imagining the worst makes you less anxious, not more. The Stoics called this practice Premeditatio Malorum, Latin for the premeditation of evils. Every day, you deliberately imagine bad things happening, not as catastrophizing, as preparation. Seneca: the wise man considers both good and bad fortune beforehand. He rehearses poverty while he is rich, and exile while he is at home, and death while he is alive, so that when these things happen, they do not catch him off guard. You rehearse losing what you have while you still have it. You imagine failure while you're succeeding. You mentally practice disaster while everything is fine. Why? So that if disaster comes, you're not destroyed by it. You already imagined it. You already considered how you'd handle it. You're prepared. Most people do the opposite. They refuse to think about bad outcomes. They avoid worst-case scenarios. They convince themselves everything will be fine. Then when something goes wrong, and eventually something always does, they're devastated. They weren't prepared. They didn't see it coming. They have no plan. The Stoics saw it coming. They imagined it. They're ready. Here's what happens when you refuse to think about what you're afraid of. Your brain treats the fear as a threat too dangerous to examine. If it's too scary to even think about, it must be catastrophic. So the fear grows. It becomes this looming, undefined terror that controls your behavior without you even realizing it. You make decisions to avoid the fear. You don't take risks because you might fail. You don't have difficult conversations because the relationship might end. You don't quit the job you hate because you might not find another one. The fear is in charge. And you never even looked at it directly. Negative visualization does the opposite. It forces you to look directly at the fear. In detail. What exactly are you afraid of? What would actually happen if the worst-case scenario came true? Usually, when you examine it, you realize the worst-case scenario is bad, but survivable. Difficult, but not impossible. Painful, but not the end. And once you see that, the fear loses its power. Example: you're afraid of losing your job. Avoidance approach: don't think about it. Hope it doesn't happen. Feel anxious constantly. Negative visualization approach: imagine it happening. Walk through it. I lose my job. What actually happens? Quote: you'd need to find another job. Uncomfortable, but people do it every day. You might have to live more frugally for a few months. Annoying, but not catastrophic. You'd have to tell people you got laid off. Embarrassing, but everyone knows layoffs happen. You'd survive. It would suck, but you'd handle it. Now the fear doesn't control you. Because you looked at it and realized, this isn't the end of the world. It's a difficult situation I could navigate. This is critical. Negative visualization is not the same as catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is, if I lose my job, I'll never find another one. I'll lose my house. My family will leave me. I'll end up homeless and alone. That's irrational spiraling. One bad thing leads to 10 worse things in an endless chain of doom. Negative visualization is, if I lose my job, here's what would realistically happen. And here's how I would realistically handle it. Quote: that's rational preparation. You imagine the bad thing. Then you imagine the response. You face the fear and create a plan. The difference is control. Catastrophizing makes you feel helpless. The future is a runaway train of disasters. Negative visualization makes you feel prepared. The future contains challenges, and you've thought through how to handle them. Seneca. He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand. When you mentally rehearse difficulty, you take away its power to shock and devastate you. You're ready. The Stoics didn't do this once. They did it every day. Different scenarios, different potential losses. Morning practice. Imagine losing one thing you value today. Your health, your job, your relationship, a loved one, your reputation, your money. Not all of them. 1. Spend 5 minutes imagining it's gone. What would you do? How would you cope? What would still matter? Marcus Aurelius practiced this with his own death. Every morning. You could leave life right now. He also practiced it with other people. Epictetus taught, when you kiss your child goodnight, whisper to yourself, tomorrow they may be dead. Not to be morbid, to stop taking them for granted, to be present with them now while you still have them. The Stoics also practiced negative visualization with daily inconveniences. Seneca would imagine losing his wealth. What if I lost everything? Could I live simply? Would I be okay? Quote, he'd imagine exile. What if I was banished from Rome? Could I build a life somewhere else? Would I survive? Quote, he'd imagine losing his status. What if everyone turned against me? Could I live without approval? Would I still know who I am? Quote, every scenario he rehearsed, every potential loss he visualized. So when things went wrong, and they did, he was ready. This practice reduces 3 specific forms of anxiety. Anxiety 1. Fear of loss. When you imagine losing something, you realize 2 things. First, you'd survive the loss. Second, you currently have the thing, and you should appreciate it while it's here. This reduces fear of loss and increases gratitude for what you have. Anxiety 2. Fear of failure. When you imagine failing, you realize, failure is survivable. People fail all the time and recover. You would too. This reduces fear of trying. If the worst case scenario isn't that bad, why not take the risk? Anxiety 3. Fear of the unknown. Most anxiety comes from uncertainty. You don't know what will happen. The unknown feels dangerous. Negative visualization removes some of the unknown. You've already imagined several scenarios. You're less surprised, less overwhelmed. This reduces general background anxiety. The future feels less threatening when you've mentally prepared for it. Here's the unexpected benefit of negative visualization. When you imagine losing something, you become more grateful for having it right now. You imagine losing your health. Suddenly, you appreciate that you can walk, breathe, move without pain. You imagine losing your partner. Suddenly, you appreciate that they're here, now, in your life. You imagine losing your job. Suddenly, you appreciate that you have income, structure, colleagues. This is why the Stoics practiced negative visualization. Not to be pessimistic, to cultivate gratitude. Seneca. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. You have things right now. You won't have them forever. Imagining their loss reminds you to appreciate them while they're here. This makes you more present, more grateful, less entitled. Modern self-help culture hates negative visualization. It tells you the opposite. Don't think about failure. Visualize success. Don't imagine loss. Focus on abundance. Don't consider worst-case scenarios. Manifest what you want. This sounds good. It feels good. And it's completely ineffective at reducing anxiety. Why? Because avoiding the fear doesn't make it go away. It just makes it unconscious. You're still afraid of losing your job. You're just not admitting it. So the fear operates in the background, influencing your decisions without your awareness. You're still afraid of failure. You're just pretending you're not. So you avoid risks and tell yourself it's because you're being strategic. Positive thinking without negative visualization is denial. You're hoping bad things won't happen while refusing to prepare for them. The Stoics were more honest. Bad things will happen. Loss is inevitable. Failure is possible. Death is certain. Pretending otherwise doesn't make you less anxious. It makes you fragile. When reality contradicts your positive thinking, you shatter. Negative visualization makes you resilient. You've already imagined the worst. You're ready. Reality can't devastate you because you already considered it. Here's the simplest daily version. Morning. Choose one thing you value. Imagine it's gone. Your job, your health, your relationship, your home, your safety. Spend 2 minutes imagining. This is gone. What would I do? How would I handle it? Quote, don't spiral into catastrophe. Just consider the realistic scenario and your realistic response. Then return to reality. I still have this. Right now. I'm grateful. Throughout the day. When anxiety about a specific fear arises, face it directly. Don't distract. Don't avoid. Ask. What exactly am I afraid of? What would actually happen? Quote, imagine the scenario. Plan the response. Notice. You'd survive. Evening. Reflect on what you still have. You woke up this morning. You're alive tonight. You had another day. Not everyone did. Anything beyond that is bonus. Appreciate it. This isn't pessimism. It's realism combined with gratitude. Bad things happen. You'll lose things. Preparing for that mentally makes you stronger, not weaker. And recognizing that you still have things right now makes you more grateful, not more entitled. The Stoics weren't pessimists. They didn't think everything would go wrong. They were realists. They knew some things would go wrong. They just didn't know which things or when. So they prepared mentally for many possibilities. Not because they wanted those things to happen. Because they wanted to be ready if they did. Marcus Aurelius. Begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. He didn't hope for these things. He prepared for them. So when they happened, and they always did, he wasn't shocked or devastated. Epictetus. Don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whichever way they happen. This is the path to peace. You can hope for the best. But hoping doesn't prepare you. Negative visualization prepares you. You've imagined difficulty. You've planned your response. You're ready. And when you're ready, you're less anxious. Because anxiety is fear of the unprepared for. When you're prepared, the fear diminishes. That's why imagining the worst makes you less anxious, not more. You faced the fear. You made a plan. You're ready. Now you can live without the fear controlling you. And that's the wisdom behind it. If this helped you think deeper, subscribe for weekly explorations of philosophy and meaning. Thanks for watching.